Welcome to Animal Stories for Kids. If you like our stories, please give us a 5-star rating, subscribe to our podcast, and share it with your friends and family. Plus, check out exclusive show-related content and join the community at patreon.com/Animal Stories for Kids. And now, it's time for our story. Once upon a time, there was a Barbet named Adriana. Adriana the Barbet lived in a little town near a great green marsh. She had the fluffiest, puffiest, curly-whirly coat you ever saw. Being a Barbet meant that Adriana was a water dog by breed, made for marshes, lakes, and ponds. She had big, webbed paws, a nose that loved to sniff wildflowers, and a tail that wagged in loopy circles when she was happy. But there was one small, slightly soggy problem. Adriana the Barbet didn't know how to swim. That's right, a Barbet, a water dog, who couldn't doggy paddle, not even a splashy one. Every morning, she went on walks by the marsh with her owner. While the owner picked wild berries or was fishing off the pier, Adriana the Barbet danced along the water's edge, sniffed at dragonflies, chased butterflies, and occasionally walked into the shallow parts of the water, but never really went in. She really wanted to, and her instincts were always bringing her close to the water, but she just never felt like she was able to swim. So she would just hang out by the lily pads, watching the ducks swim by. And every day, perched around the lily pads, sat a frog. It was there every day, enjoying the view while eating bugs. One day, as Adriana the Barbet walked by the lily pads, the frog said to her, "You're a water dog, right?" Yes," Adriana the Barbet replied. "Can you swim?" the frog asked. Not really," she said, looking down at her paws. I sink like a rock, a very curly rock." The frog blinked and said, "Well, that's silly. You have webbed feet, and you're practically built like a boat. Come on, I'll teach you." Adriana wagged her tail nervously and asked, "Really?" The frog replied, "Sure. Meet me here tomorrow, and we'll begin our swim lessons." Adriana agreed and was looking forward to her swim class. The next day, Adriana the Barbet showed up at the lily pads, and her swim school began. The frog said to Adriana, "Lesson 1, the dip and paddle." The frog got into the water and started showing Adriana the Barbet her first lesson. "Just put your front paws in and paddle," said the frog. "Easy, right?" Adriana tiptoed into the shallow part of the water. Her curls puffed up as the cold water tickled her toes. And as she was walking into the water, she said, "Okay, I'm paddling. Right then, she slipped on a muddy rock and landed with a squishy flop. When she stood up, she had a cattail stuck to her forehead. "Was that part of the lesson?" she asked the frog. The frog chuckled. "We'll call that extra credit." Adriana came out of the water and laughed too. The frog then said, "Okay, lesson 2, the belly float. For this lesson, you have to lie down gently and let the water hold you up." Adriana nodded, took a deep breath, and plopped belly first into the marsh with a big splash. Then, all of a sudden, she floated for half a second. Then she sank and came up spitting water. She got herself to the shallow area by walking on the ground every time she sank after bouncing up to the surface to breathe. She would go up and get some air and sink back down and walk forward and up and down again until the water was covering her legs only. She then asked the frog, "Why didn't that work?" "You forgot the gentle part," said the frog. "You flopped and splashed. Next time, be a little more gentle." Adriana the Barbet agreed. The frog then said, "All right, lesson 3, the glide. Let's try swimming with your whole body," said the frog. "You've got strong legs. Just stretch them out and glide in the water like a duck." Adriana the Barbet walked slowly into the water and took a deep breath and kicked off from a rock. And she went in 5 different directions at once. Her front paws paddled forward. Her back paws paddled backward. Her tail spun around, and her nose was pointing straight up. And she started spinning in a circle, yelping, "Look at me! I'm a curly tornado! I'm a curly tornado!" The frog leapt onto her nose and calmly shouted, "Glide in the water, not spin." Eventually, Adriana flopped back onto land, soaking wet and covered in bits of the floating moss that was in the water. Adriana sighed and said, "I'll never get it." The frog blinked and said to her, "You're closer than you think. You just need one thing." "What's that?" she asked. "You just have to believe that your body was made for the water," said the frog. Adriana the Barbet tilted her head and said, "But I'm scared." The frog gave her a soft smile and said, "Even water dogs need time. You're still learning, but you can do this." That night, Adriana curled up on her porch and watched the moonlight dance on the water. Her paws still smelled like pond water. Her tail was stiff from spinning, but in her heart, she felt hopeful. The next morning, she returned to the marsh. This time, she didn't tiptoe. She trotted right in. And this time, she didn't leap. She waded or moved slowly in the water. And this time, she didn't flop. She gently floated. And then, slowly, steadily, Adriana the Barbet began to paddle. Not perfectly, not gracefully, but she was moving forward. 1 paw, 2 paws, kicking and kicking, her tail staying steady. The frog watched from the lily pad, eyes wide and excited. "She's doing it," the frog whispered to itself. "She's really doing it." "I'm swimming!" Adriana barked joyfully. "I'm swimming! And I'm not spinning!" The dragonflies zigzagged around her in celebration. The birds started to chirp louder. Even the cattails seemed to sway in the wind with applause. Adriana the Barbet swam in a big circle, then glided back to the shore where the frog was waiting. "I did it!" she said as she was panting from swimming so much. "You did it," said the frog joyfully. "Thank you, frog," she said, licking the frog's head with a wet, marshy smooch. "Oh, okay. Celebration over. Good job," said the frog as it laughed. And from that day on, Adriana swam every morning, not because she had to, but because she loved it. She chased the ripples in the water, and she swam by all the ducks. And each day, the frog sat on the lily pad, watching with pride. And Adriana felt so good about herself because she was able to do something that she was so scared of. And all it took was a little help and for her to believe that she could do it. And the Barbet lived happily ever after. The end. The Barbet is a medium-sized, rare breed of French water dog, and the name comes from the French word meaning beard. Barbets have thick, curly coats that feel like soft wool. Their coats can be black, brown, gray, fawn color, or white, and sometimes with spots. Barbets have webbed feet like ducks, and they help them move around in the water. Barbets are smart and can learn new things quickly. Barbets are friendly, playful, and calm when they get enough exercise and attention. Barbets love water and enjoy swimming in lakes and rivers. Barbets have been around since the 16th century in France. Barbets were originally bred to help hunters retrieve their catches. Barbets love to run and play outside, especially in muddy or swampy areas. Have you seen a real-life Barbet before? If you have, where did you see it? If you want to write to us, ask your parent to email us at animalstoriesforkids@gmail.com and tell us what you think of our stories. We would love to hear from you. Thanks for listening to Animal Stories for Kids. If you like our stories, please give us a 5-star rating, subscribe to our podcast, and share it with your friends and family. Plus, check out exclusive show-related content and join the community at patreon.com/animalstoriesforkids. Until next time, bye!